Welcome to this new episode of us watching Twin Peaks. I'm excited because we kind of skipped over watching one on Tuesday because of the Ahsoka finale, obviously. Hope everybody enjoyed watching our digression, our discussion on that. It will probably be up before this video comes out, so yeah. We're going to get into this next episode. What is it called? Realization Time? Realization Time.
Realization
Yes.
time.
I don't know what that's
Time to
referring to,
realize.
but yeah, it's time to
Well,
realize. Do you have a song ready?
make saws. Pretty bird. Mm, fly away.
Need some pizza.
Charlie Austin
Some
free.
pepperoni sausage.
Wrapped in plastic.
It's under good.
Yes, pepperoni and cheese with the shaky parmesan,
Pista
big
king.
glass of milk. You're going to
Eat
sleep.
my fucking pizza.
He's going to get in the danger position. Snoring, snoring. This boy is sleeping. Little boy, big bed, too comfy.
Night Broad Show.
But
Nick.
Oh, we did it. What was that last scene? I was kind of getting frustrated. Okay.
I was too busy being frustrated. It was this extended scene
You
of
put some
them
sand in the gas tank?
calling Dr. Jacoby. He put illicit drugs in there.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. At this point, I was like saying, man, I love how like everybody's being really sleuthy, and everybody's like acting like Solid Snake.
Yeah, this is where we're like getting deep into Maddie and James and Donna having their investigation and Bobby still messing around with his drugs and Leo stuff and Hank getting involved and everybody's going freaking nuts,
Does
dude.
it say Farley Davids?
I
It's a knockoff like Great Value brand motorcycle.
we couldn't license the name.
Farley Davids.
Came up with our own brand, Farley Davids.
Good stuff in this episode. I really liked it. I
Oh,
thought
yeah.
for sure from the last episode that Leo would, be out of it, out of commission for a while. At least not come back right away.
Looking like a wounded animal and just like being totally fine. Like
Stalking his prey.
he slept outside for the night, but he's like fine.
I don't need to go to the hospital. Shut up.
I don't need to take a bath. Why would I need to go to the hospital? This is where I live, Shelly.
I live here, Shelley.
Well, so a question for you, Tyler, right off the bat is before we watched the episode, you said something to the effect of like, I'm not sure why it's called Realization Time. After having watched the episode, do you feel like you're any more keyed into why it's called Realization Time? Did
Maybe.
you, Nick? Oh,
It's too simple. I would say it's too simple of a title. I was trying to read maybe too much into it. Realization Time. Um, do you have a theory or do you have a definitive?
well, I don't think definitive. Certainly not. I was just curious if you felt like you had been elucidated in any way. Like, I think it is pretty simple. I think this is the penultimate episode, realization time. Like, hey, we've started this mystery, and now here things are gonna come up that are gonna be like a few answers or something. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. The realization moment was when they all investigate the tape recorder by the bird, Waldo, that gets shot, and then Leo, no, Leo, no. That's a big realization moment.
Yeah, I guess that is a pretty good realization of like, hey, direct naming of somebody.
From
They,
Jacques Renault's place, like his cabin.
yeah, like they've been following all these things that have. It feels like one of their first big definitive breakthroughs is this evidence, if it's admissible from a bird. It's like they they found out the stuff about Flesh World. They found out the stuff about like Jacques and Leo even being involved that night. They found out the stuff from the log lady about like, oh, voices going by, two men, two girls, and just X, Y, and Z. That's led them to this moment of Waldo's voice kind of being the damning evidence in a way.
You're right. And there's also a big realization when they listen to the tape recorder, and then they hunt down. They're like, did Dr. Jacoby have a deal in this? So James and his crew, Nancy Drews, they all get a plot going to get him out of his office so they can like do something. So that was a big realization for that moment too.
I'm trying to think about that too, because they want to steal a tape that Jacoby has that I believe was like something that Laura was supposed to have recorded maybe like the day she died or something like that.
Yes.
They're going after a tape
Yep.
of Laura's, or that has like information about Laura.
There's a lot of realizations if you go beat by beat here. So Audrey actually has a realization when she hides in the closet and is like, oh my gosh, this guy is actually vetting these women to go work at One Eye Jack's. And then she kind of like realizes there's a notebook with all these girls in them, some in red, some just normal with hearts. So there's that big realization. There's I was gonna get, there wasn't really
Does Norma have a realization?
Big head's big head. I mean,
Big
well,
head.
here, this is a big realization where we find out later that they're in cahoots with Horn, like talking on the phone with Josie about the fire and getting everybody on board with like the plot or the whatever they're gonna do with the mill. I don't know, like, but the big thing is like when you pan out, you see Hank just standing there. That was like, okay, that's a weird realization. Like, okay,
So part of the plot is they want to either have Josie sell Ben Horn the mill so that he can turn the mill and other stuff into the Ghostwood Estates or whatever project that might end up being. And if she won't sell, then excuse me, it sounds like the plan is like, okay, let's reshift some of the paperwork that's in place or create new paperwork that basically, if something happens to the mill, or like a fire or something like that, we're going to get paid out anyways, and then we can just like claim this land that's just been burned, or like it's been foreclosed, or whatever it is, and we can just take it over real easy. But then there's also the aspect which I'm not 100% on, where they take out the life insurance policy on Catherine. Like clearly they want to benefit from the possibility of her dying,
right, yep.
but I don't know if that's supposed to be a direct result of whatever else this mill plan is. Or
Well, and she also farted when she opened up her secret box. So she was.
Somebody stole her farts. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody was there. She was missing her logbook, essentially, that she made duplicates of, and she's like, "What?" Whatever noise she made.
She spit up a little bit, and she hissed like a lizard when she saw that her logbook was gone. The frills on her neck expanded in a defensive posture.
Yeah, she turned into a Dilophosaurus. And then Nedry was like, "Stick, stupid."
No wonder you're extinct.
But yeah, that was a big realization too. So like everybody's like, "Huh? Oh." It's like everybody had like the anime like face, like,
Yeah.
oh.
There were a couple gasps this episode, but it is a little bit weird to like call this episode out in particular, or to be like, hey guys, this time right here is when people are going to start realizing stuff, because it's like pretty much every single episode that's kind of what it's been. Some of it hasn't been as earth-shattering or revealing or impactful, but every single episode people are finding out all kinds of new stuff and reacting to it.
I know.
That's what this show
Jacoby,
is.
I think I'm like a surrogate like Jacoby like archetype, because like
Surakobe.
look at his belt buckle, because it has that cool little like, do you remember those it was either Pogs or like I had a Power Ranger Zordon, or like it was like a flip coin that had like this weird effect where it was like green and red when you like glinted it in the light. It almost looked like 3D. Watch when his buckle like moves in the light.
Yeah, I see that.
See that?
I definitely see exactly what I think. I had
What are those
probably
called? It's not
what
really
you're talking about, or
lenticular, but
like
it's like something weird.
I remember having similar things, or even what you're talking about there. But I mean, yeah, if you identify with Jacoby because of his belt buckle, that's awesome.
No, and his CRT. And he's like,
And his CRT.
it is
Ooh,
awesome,
I
but-
didn't even think about that. Let me see that CRT.
he has dials on it and everything.
What's he working with?
Well, he's got he got a Twin Dragon VCR. It looked like.
I did spot the VCR, and I was like, "Ooh, that looks like a good model." Look at this! Look at this slot machine cowboy in the back here.
Yeah, I know. I saw that too.
You're gonna pull my gun, partner. I'm gonna be aiming right at you.
Ah,
Draw, you shit of a gun.
Cooper, it's him, Jacques Renault.
Jacques Renault.
Jacques.
Oh,
I'm gonna just let it go.
is that a combo? I think it is. Look at his blue leather shoes too. His blue leather Sora shoes.
He's like,
Look at those
his
things.
Saurus, yeah, his Sora stompers.
Big old sneakies.
Yup.
Wait, isn't Bob the dark part of our hearts?
I just think Jacoby is like an interesting character. He's a wild dude.
I I said it before. I think that he has clearly a few traits that are not so desirable.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
all in all, I think he's one of the more lovable characters. And as things go on and we see him,
He's very
like-
reserved. I know that.
yeah,
As we go in, we do like get to know more about him and his maybe playing things close to the chest, because he might be a little bit of a freak or a creep.
well, that's what I mean. Is like in the early parts, he's making comments about like, Laura was my patient, and he's like playing with his tie in that weird way, and there's just like creepy moments to him. But then there's the moments of him like when he's in the hospital bed talking to Coop and the sheriff, and I think about him in The Return too, and his like
His golden shovels.
limited but impactful role on the whole of that story and the tone of that story.
Yeah, what does his VCR say? It says like
Twin digital auto tracking U31.
twin digital.
It looks like they might have covered up or marred the actual like branding of it.
Yeah, the front flap.
Yeah. But I get what you mean. Like he gets more action than Norma in this show. Like he gets more play. Jacoby gets more time to be around, to give lines, to do kooky stuff.
Yep.
He gets a bit more time than other people, and it's nice that he's not another
TV monitor.
Leo or Hank. Yeah, that looks like a combo to me.
It's a
And
nice
so many dials.
So many weird dials, yeah, on the side.
And then like a hat switch on the very bottom that's maybe like an input selector.
Yeah, or headphone jack or something. Like a dual headphone jack, because there's like
Oh, there is headphone
said,
jack.
it says headphone underneath that.
Yeah.
You can put two people's headphones in there.
We've seen Jacoby like lounging in his chair, listening in on his big headphones to his music. So who's to say he doesn't just plug headphones into his couch and then or into his TV and then sit like 6 feet back on the couch with a really long cord?
Exactly.
Yeah, is that National Geographics?
Yeah, National Geographic. You got the Nat Geo.
Nat Geo, bro.
Natty G.
I also got Zordon on my belt.
It got something there.
Zordon
I
on my
got a
belt.
Dilophosaurus.
Yeah, it's pretty much a
Rangers.
morpher.
Jacoby,
Jacoby.
find me psychotherapist
Beep, beep,
with
beep, beep.
attitude.
It's morphin' time.
Ay, ay, ay.
What a pose.
Well-
He looks like Tony Montana doing some drug
Oh.
calls.
The world is mine.
What else can we say?
Drug
Like,
calls.
it's like you said, it's the penultimate episode. The realization moments are happening, and
The Teller Ultimate episode, actually.
I like it.
I like it too. Okay.
Well, so
It took me a bit. I'm
I like it too. Okay, moving on.
We're done.
okay, one thing that I can say, and this gets a little bit into like spoiler talk, or we're looking ahead a tiny bit. There's a moment in this right before the kids go out on their Scooby-Doo act that when you're going back with the correct context, or when you have more of a frame of reference on the rest of the show, it's a very, very telling thing. And it's like, okay, that to me is them clearly they may do red herrings, and they may put down some breadcrumbs for you to follow that are supposed to be incorrect, but this is one that is very, very correct, and I think very deliberate.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shot of Ray Wise just sitting on a couch,
Oh, I gotta get there. Yeah, that was a great one.
and then Maddie. It's like right before she leaves the house, so it's close to the end. But he just like is silent and just turns and looks at her go. Yeah, right here.
What a freak. Oh, that is creepy. I was
And-
looking at that like he's not himself right there. He
Oh.
can't be.
Oh,
When-
he looks like he's doing the face that he does.
Right.
Wilson, when you said just Ray Wise sitting there on the couch by himself, I would just walk downstairs, and there my cat was sitting on the couch by himself.
Your cat's not Ray
Looking-
Wise.
No, he's not.
But for a second, he almost was.
For a second.
In the process of this show, this one thing that we're seeing here isn't the most out of the ordinary, because we've seen fucking Leland do some kooky stuff,
Yes.
but it is certainly sinister what we're seeing in the way that it's shot with this darkness and his face and all that. But
He's
like,
shrouded in darkness.
there's nothing specifically like outwardly signaling, but
No.
as we
In
move on-
retrospect. Yeah, in retrospect.
But for people who may be going through this for the first time and are trying to pay attention to like, okay,
Yeah.
what are the clues I can follow to who's the killer of Laura, and they're not
Right.
caught up on the weird scene that they just had with Nadine. That's probably an important part of the mystery process right there.
True.
The big standout was Big Ed looking like a fucking turd.
Burger.
Ferguson.
Like Turd Ferguson did.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite bits, because we were just like going nuts. Like, he looked just like Norm in the Celebrity Jeopardy.
I don't know how I've never noticed that before, because it's uncanny.
Yeah.
He's got the big belt buckle, the big hair, mustache. Yeah, it's like Norm must have been a fan of this show and Big Ed. Old country guys wearing the type of outfit.
Hold on.
See that
Found
slot
a
machine
good
guy?
picture.
It's funny
Big
because it's a big
cowboy.
hat.
Big hat. It's funny.
So yeah, I'm gonna leave it there because rip Norm. Anything else to add to this episode? I'm excited to get into the finale of this first season.
Yeah, all right.
I'm excited to get into the last episode of the first season, but I am also kind of excited for when season 2 starts and things start to slightly go kind of off the rails and get like wiggly wobbly.
That's also really fun because of the anticipation of.
Hmm.
I'd imagine people like wanting a new season to come out for this show because it was such a cult hit, or
Hmm.
it's like a mass hit for a wide range or wide audience. So now it's like, what are they going to do next? How are they going to explain this?
Yeah.
And they kind of subvert a little bit of the cliffhanger stuff.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, when people are like, "Ooh, I wonder what they're gonna do with this. I wonder what's gonna happen next." They're like, "Well, we'll tell you once we're done telling you about James getting on his motorcycle and leaving the show for a few episodes
That's true
and
too.
entering a new television show." Well, part of the reason of why I'm looking forward to that is like I feel like, to me, I know what to expect from season 1 because it's 8 episodes. It's not very long, and it's like we get introduced to people, we settle into the cozy atmosphere, we hit the big places, we start these fun introductions and stuff.
Hmm.
Where it starts to get weird in the like storytelling sense, not in the actual content sense, but like when things start kind of going off plot a little bit, are the moments where I'm like, okay, I'm sure that there's a lot of stuff I don't remember, and I'm curious to re-experience that because I know what to expect from season 1, and I sure as hell know what to expect from the end of season 2. So that early and middle part is going to be interesting to see again.
That's true. Yeah, the early stuff. I just know just the last shot of the first season. People are like, oh my gosh, I have to watch the next season. I can't wait. Oh my god. But then when you come back and you're hoping that cliffhanger gets resolved, and they can't just do that to that character or whatever else.
I mean, it certainly would, like, it would not be an uncommon thing for them to set a standard like that, though, to just be like, okay, we had our fun with this character in season 1, now carrying on, no more.
Yeah, I don't know if they would be that ballsy, but that would be really cool if a show of this standard or this caliber can like do that to a character and just be like, yep, he's not coming back.
Well, I think
They're just
I
not
think
coming.
like where we are in the story, that could theoretically like be something that would work, where Sheriff Truman and Hawk and a few other people like really kind of step up and double down on the investigation because now Coop is gone, the person they all kind of like looked up to and gathered around.
Yeah,
And
and then
that's,
he can have a replacement, or like somebody else coming.
I don't even know that you would need to replace him, but that's because it's before the introduction of a lot of the other stuff that starts to get really granular.
Yeah,
Like you can still make use of Bob, you can still make use of the one-armed man. Um, the Wyndham Earl stuff doesn't necessarily need to happen, or it can be something a little bit different. Like he can still come around, but without the Dale um, having him around to antagonize. That's like a small difference, but
right. Yeah,
it wouldn't. It in the end of things, it wouldn't be the weird if they had still continued and done a lot of the weird stuff that this show does. It wouldn't be the strangest thing in the show for it to just be like, oh yeah, that show that we all have seen, where the main character, one of the more popular characters, just died and didn't come back.
yeah. That's a ballsy move, I'd say. Yeah, that's all I have to say really about this episode. I'm just antsy to get into the next one.
Right.
So stay tuned for the next one. Thank you for joining
Stay tuned.
us. Stay tuned for more.
Listen
Twin
for a
Peaks.
call on the red phone.
Stay tuned for more pin tweaks.